Dear viewers, welcome to New Hope TV. This is Isaac Sikka hosting this program for you, a very special program called My India, My Pride. We as Indian Christians, we want to declare that we love this nation, we are proud to be Indians, and we pray for this nation. We pray for the nation, for the leaders, so that all of us would live in peace and we will prosper as we live in this nation. Today we have with us a very special guest, Dr. Babu Varghese, a man who has done a lot of research to develop a lot of material that would be very informative for all of us. He is a historian, he is a journalist, and he has also authored a few books. The latest of his book is Let There Be India, Impact of the Bible on Nation Building. A book that I would recommend that every one of our viewers would gain access to this book. This is a capsule edition. There is a bigger edition. Dr. Babu would be talking to us more about it. A material that has been developed with a lot of research, with proper, authentic, resourceful material put together. So we are very happy to have you with us in this program, My Pride, My India, My Pride. We have been talking about how the Christian servants of God who came into this nation with a definite purpose to develop this nation, to build the people of this nation. And the contribution they have done is amazing, and nobody can contradict it. Nobody can question it, because it is still evident in the building of this nation. They have done so much in the Department of Education, in developing languages, in grammar, in prose, in poetry, and they have also contributed in developing the universities and removing many false beliefs that people lived with, eradicating many evils from that was existing among the people. And it's amazing to see how, with the love of God in them and with a passion to develop this nation, the things that they have invested without any selfish motive is just mind-blowing. Yes. Thank you so much for gathering so much of information and putting it together in a book and making it possible for every one of us to gain access to it. In this episode that we are going to continue to talk about My India, My Pride, we would like you to talk a little more about the socio-economic contribution that the missionaries have done, the servants of God who came into this nation have done for us. There are various departments they have really contributed in. So would you like to talk to us more about that?
I had the great privilege to look into the great contribution of the builders and movers of this nation as a student of history. India is a great nation of over 5,000 years. Who made this nation great? Mera Bharat Mahan. Our India is great, there's no doubt about it. But as we look into the history of the contributors of this development, I happen to find out a particular group of people known as Bible translators and Christian servants, who contributed so much to the development for the vikas of this nation. But unfortunately, most of them are not remembered. Due consideration is not given to them, but not for a fame or name or fortune they have done, but they have done out of the love they have for God.
Sacrificially.
Yes, it was sacrificing. A sacrificial contribution.
Yeah. They made a lot of sacrifices, and as you told us, most of them, they laid down their lives in this nation itself. They did not even go back after the contributions they have done. Yeah. So tell us about the Department of Agriculture.
I have done a research on the contribution to the development of languages, literature, education, printing, publishing, journalism, and socio-cultural transformation. They also contributed much to the economic development of this nation.
Okay. In what ways have they contributed?
For example, you come to Bombay, I am from Bombay, you come to Bombay, I will give you vada pav.
Wow.
So what is this pav? Pav is bread.
Okay.
Bread is brought to India by Portuguese Christian missionaries.
Okay.
Pao, see in Pao is still used in Marathi as bread.
In South India, we think it's a North Indian bread.
No, it is Pao brought by Christian missionaries.
Okay.
Then we put vada into that, and vada pav was done. Millions of rupees we have business on that. And again, part of that is bakery technology, baking of bread. Okay. Think of the bakery. I am from Kerala. Today I am calling it Kerala Bakery Kerala. Every shop is a bakery today because millions and millions, the turnover is billions. But who brought this to India? Christian missionaries. Sacrificially they brought this. Their knowledge, their products they brought to India. It was not for destruction, it was for construction. There are three groups of people in the world. Constructionists, destructionists and obstructionists. Christians were constructionists in this country. Vada pav, pav was brought to us all over. Bakery technology, baking was brought to us. Secondly, what about potato? Lalu Prasad calls it aloo, but in Bombay we call it batata. Batata is in a Marathi name. Batata is a Portuguese name for potato. It was brought by Portuguese missionaries. Think of the potato business in this country. From masala dosha to everything, potato. Is so economic contribution through the product of potato is brought to us. What about chili? In Andhra and Karnataka we like chili, right? Chili is brought by us. Groundnut is brought by Christian missionaries.
Wow.
Cashew nut. Well, in Karnataka, coastal area, Goa, Kerala, cashew nut plenty.
Mangalore, we have a lot of cashew nut.
Cashew nut? Who brought it? Christian missionaries.
Oh, okay.
What about maize? Apple? Orange?
Okay.
Huh?
So, a lot of agricultural products.
Products have been brought to us.
Okay.
What about tea and coffee?
Yeah.
You know, if you go to, this morning we were in a shop and they asked us whether you need espresso or cappuccino. I said cappuccino. Cappuccino is what? Cappuccino is coffee. It is a Portuguese word for coffee.
Okay.
You have seen the Catholic nuns and priests of that order, cappuccino, the brown dress they have.
Yes.
These cappuccino priests and nuns, they brought coffee from Brazil to Portugal. It was very bitter. So they added milk and honey and became good. And they brought it to coffee to Arab land. Arabs brought it to India and also Portuguese missionaries, cappuccino. So we have big leaders in this country who are coffee makers and tea makers. Right? They became so because of us. We brought coffee and tea to India.
Chikmagalur has a lot of coffee estates.
Yes. And Arabs also were a part of it. They also brought it to India.
So, a lot of agricultural development has also happened because of the Christian missionaries.
Pineapple.
Pineapple.
Yes. The list goes on and on.
Okay.
Then what about tiles? Mangalore tiles.
Yes.
When the Basel mission missionaries came here, they saw that they developed the tiles. What beauty! Even today, you know, now concrete jungle, but now you look at the, as I was driving from the airport to this place, it's so beautiful to see some of the tiles here. Beautiful. Who brought it? Christian missionaries, Basel mission missionaries. What about khaki cloth? Khaki.
Okay.
Khaki cloth is a special product given by the Mangalore Christian missionaries.
The uniform that is being used.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So the list goes on and on. And do we deserve stones for all these things?
No.
But that's what's happening. That's my problem. That's why I did this book, to keep it on record. What we did, let there be India, the impact of Bible on nation building. We did so much for this nation. What about farming? The first green revolution was started in Allahabad. The first agriculture university was Christian missionaries. Then again, farming, the horticultural society was established by William Carey. Right? The botany, the study on botany, on plants, initiated by William Carey. The first botanical library and botanical farming was done by William Carey and Sarambur missionaries. Again, the first white revolution, the milk revolution, was started in Allahabad by Christian missionaries. One day Gandhiji called those missionaries, and while he discussed how to develop the dairy development, Higginbotham was the father of modern dairy development in India. These are the truths. You cannot erase history, but keep on telling lies against us. This must be stopped.
We are so glad that you were able to collect all this information of the contribution that the Christian servants of God have contributed to the development of this nation. How did you manage to gather all this information?
Brother, when I am threatened for doing good this country, I had no problem. I pray for them, because Jesus was threatened. He said, love them. He said, when you are persecuted, Jesus said, when you are persecuted, pray for them, pity them. That's what I do. Then I thought, that is one step. Being silent, silently suffer. I agree. I don't retaliate. I don't need to physically. But we are not taught to do that. One cheek is slapped, you show the other thing. That is the love of Jesus. But there is an intellectual attack against us, building history on lies. So I said it has to be explained properly. That is how. I was passionate, brother. I did my research at Nagpur University in the linguistics department for PhD. I had already a diploma in linguistics, but I thought I will do a major study under a very well-known linguist having 2 PhDs, very well-known linguist of this nation. 5 years I did my research. Then God opened me a way to go to Oxford, and I did major research there. Then 27 other countries I went there, where many of our first material in printing and other is there in those museums and archives. I visited most of the archives and national institutes of libraries of India. History is stuck there. I told you, the first newspaper produced right here in Mangalore by Herman Mongling, I got a copy of it. 1844 I got it from British Museum. This is the story, and overseas people are willing to share their knowledge, and they will show you all those things.
So all that you're sharing is not your imagination.
It's not a concocted story, brother. It is part and parcel of a research. It's authenticated. Here it is, the list of the contribution of Christian missionaries to development of languages and literature and dictionary and grammar book. This is a PhD. It's an academic exercise. Yeah. This is not a religious book. It's not a religious fight. It's an academic exercise, a history making history alive on the truth.
Creating an awareness in the minds of people.
Exactly.
Eradicating the false notions.
Exactly. So that a positive attitude is created. Yes. We don't deserve stones. No. Even this week I got reports that Christians are being attacked and murdered, and that you are converting people. But I want to ask you another question. Conversion is my basic right. If today I am in one party, if another political party is saying come to me, it's my right to go. If I am wearing this kurta, I have every right to have another kurta or a different dress.
Yeah.
I use one kind of mobile, and I have every right to use another kind of mobile.
Every man has his own right of choices.
It's transformation, it's conversion. So conversion is my basic right. Who can question this? We are unfoundedly accused that we are converting people. If in statistics itself, 1947, what was their percentage? In fact, the percentage of the so-called Christians came down. We are not going for numbers, number one. We Christians don't need any political power in this country or anywhere in the world. Jesus said, my world, my kingdom is not of this. We are concerned about the souls of men. Without Jesus Christ, people go to hell. But also Jesus said, not only you develop the spiritual needs of man, you meet the physical needs of man. Luke's Gospel chapter 4, Jesus said, behold, I am anointed, I have come to preach the gospel of the good news to the poor, to liberate those who are in prison, to give help to the oppressed and the suppressed and the enslaved.
So conversion is not by compulsion. It's by conviction.
Exactly.
When
and by communication.
Communication, yes. Yeah. When the communication happens, the conviction comes, and the conviction comes from God. It's not from man.
It is not.
And it's very individual.
Yes.
And I think the nation gives right to every individual to live by his conviction.
We have such a great nation. I tell you, our neighbor is a theocratic country, but ours is a democratic nation. We need to stand by that well, democratic and secular. This is not a theocratic country. This nation is a democratic country, secular. We don't have a religion of ourselves. Each individual has the basic fundamental right to be convinced when somebody communicates something and be converted.
We are united in spite of all the differences.
Exactly. See, national integration, such a love. You know, we don't fight with one another. We love our neighbor. We care for our neighbor. For example, when the communal riots took place in Bombay between two communities, the churches and Christian homes were opened. Government has acknowledged that. Said, come, you are maybe a Muslim or a Hindu or whatever it is, come, don't fight each other. Come, be under our security. We don't fight, we love one another. We care for one another. We develop this nation socio-economically.
So it's not only that it was done by Christian servants of God and Bible translators. We as Indian Christians, we still love this nation.
Yes.
We still want to give our best that we can give in whatever field possible.
You know, recently, I had a bitter experience. A few months ago, I was to talk on this subject, on Christian contribution to India in Ahmedabad. So the organizers made a handbill and took it to the printing press. That printer said, you Christians are destroying the culture, I will not print it. And they got it printed outside. But that printer, I am trying to meet him. It was Christian missionary known as Fivey, another missionary known as Skinner. They came to Surat and established the first printing press in 1822. The first printing press in Gujarat was established by these two missionaries in 1822. And this man in 1818 is becoming a printer because of us, and he is unwilling to print my bill. Again, you know, all our people talk so well Gujarati and Hindi. Gujarati, the first grammar book in Gujarati, first dictionary in Gujarati was again given by 1819 and 1820 by missionaries Skinner and Fivey and J.V.S. Taylor and others. Hindi was created by missionary Samuel Henry Kellogg in 1880. He created Hindi out of 12 Central Indian dialects. He gave the first authentic grammar book in Hindi language. And Hindi Pracharak Sabha was started by a foreign missionary, not any Indian. Today, India speaks, more than 60% of Indians speak Hindi. And we teach so we created Hindi, we made a grammar book and dictionary, we created newspapers in Hindi, we created schools and colleges and universities in Hindi, and they become Hindi masters, and they say Christians destroyed the culture in Hindi language.
Dr. Babu, I am so excited to know the contribution that the Christian workers have done towards the building of the Hindi language. They initiated it, they have developed it, and today we have millions of people who love and speak and enjoy this language so much. Unfortunately, I am not very fluent with Hindi, but after hearing from you, I feel I should learn this language too.
Yes, you know, the situation of attitude towards languages in this country is something very pathetic. You go to North India, if you don't speak Hindi, they think you are a foreigner. Even the languages are given religious tag. Hindi is a Hindu language, English is Christian, Urdu is Muslim. You know, we are dividing people, we are instead of integrating people. But it has nothing to do with religion. And again, Hindi is not a national language. You know that? Yes. There is no national language in this country. We have 1,652 languages. No language is superior, no language is inferior. So, even there was no Hindi language, I said. You know, the story is that there was Hindustani. Hindustani is different from Hindi. The government of India, then British government, promoted Persian and Arabic. The Brahmins didn't promote but use a dead language, Sanskrit. So there were three groups of people known as classicists, who were promoting Sanskrit for their own reasons, and there were Anglicists, who are the Britishers who said English should be promoted. There were Orientalists, right?
I'm really excited, about the knowledge that you're giving us about how this Hindi language was initiated and developed. Could you tell us a little more?
Vishal Mangalwadi has done a lot of research on the development of Hindi language. I'm going to read from him. He says, he was not able to read the Hindi of the old Ramayana. Then it was Hindustani. But he says, Dr. Samuel Henry Kellogg, 1839 to 1899, an American Presbyterian missionary in Allahabad, coalesced more than a dozen dialects to help create today's Hindi. Please listen to this. He entitled the Hindi grammar as Grammar of the Hindi Language, in which are treated the High Hindi, Braj, and the Eastern Hindi of the Ramayana of Tulsidas, and also of the colloquial dialects of Rajputana, Kumaran, and Awadh, Rewa, Bhojpuri, and Magad, and Maithila. His brilliant treatise was called the Hindi Vyagaran, was published by Hindi Sahitya Sammelan Prayag, Allahabad. And again it was promoted by Kashi Nagari Pracharan Sabha, which was initiated and promoted by missionary Reverend F. Greaves of Benares. Do you ever realize that Hindi would not have been here as a language today unless these were developed by Christian missionaries out of Hindustani and these local dialects?
So would you continue to tell us a little more about the other developments that the missionaries have contributed?
There was a system whereby a non-Brahmin cannot come anywhere near to the Brahmins, especially in Kerala. If a non-Brahmin or say a Hindu has to go, a Brahmin has to go, there has to be 90 feet difference. They can't walk on the street. And if a non-Brahmin is traveling, he has to keep on shouting, hoi, 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 so that the Brahmin will hear and he will keep away. Untouchability was practiced there. Sin, inhuman activity. And if somehow a non-Brahmin is somehow touching a Brahmin will go and 7 times he will dip himself in the pond. This was India.
Yeah. So how was the lower caste empowered?
And the lower castes were struggling. They were treated like animals. One day, even language, you cannot use a particular language. You see, one day a lower caste man went to a shop and said, I want uppu. She said, uppu is salt. It's in Malayalam, only an upper class man can use that word uppu. So he was killed. It is there in the history of Kerala written down. A lower caste man used a word which is used for salt in Malayalam by an upper caste man. He was killed by the shopkeeper. This was India. Even the language variations were there. Suppression, oppression, enslavement. Who liberated? Christian missionaries because of the gospel of Jesus.
So Dr. Babu, it's been wonderful listening to you. I'm sure all the viewers would agree with me that all the information that is authentically being given to them is amazing. It's an eye-opener. It is really eradicating many false notions that people have been living with. You've been talking to us about the Green Revolution, the White Revolution, and the many developments that was done in agriculture. All this has really given us a lot of encouragement to understand the contribution that the Christian workers have done for this nation. It is not done, it is being done, it will be done, because we speak about a God of love. And we love this nation. We will continue to live in this nation the way God wants us to live, and we will contribute the best that we can. We might be persecuted, we might be misunderstood, but nothing will stop us from loving the nation where God allowed us to be born as citizens. Dear viewers, I'm sure you've been blessed by what Dr. Babu has been sharing. Stay tuned, and this is Isaac Sikka signing off from New Hope TV.